Hello everybody and welcome back to the Red Bull Ring here in Styria as well. As you can see, the track now beginning to vacate and we're all getting ready for the Grand Prix review. It really has been one of those type of days where once again we've had just a little bit of everything. And it really is quite exciting to see. Josh Plays is alongside me up in the commentary box in order to talk about everything that happened today across Formula 1 and Formula 2 and Formula 3. Josh, let's start with Formula 1 and we'll start with the race winner, and that is Charles Leclerc. He had to hold on today extremely a lot because it was almost another DNF for him, complaining again of failures in the car.
Yeah, and as we saw 15 laps before the end, his teammate going boom. Are we going to?
Yes, we are. Let's go to Lewis Hamilton now in the interview pen.
Being told you'd finish third in this race would have been a good result.
Definitely. I mean, especially after a difficult Friday with the crash, which was not expected, and I'm really still. I know I said sorry to the team, of course, but just so proud of everyone for working so hard to rebuild the car, and also just proud of everyone back at the factory for continuing to work hard. I know they're going to have to, I don't know what they'll do with those bits that I destroyed, but hopefully we have some new better bits to come after that. So this is a great recovery for us as a team to get a third and a fourth. This is really good points, and so we just got to keep our heads down, keep chipping away. We're slowly eating into the guys ahead, but yeah, they're still pretty quick.
When you drove that car on Friday, you said that, or the team seemed to think it could be potentially P2, P3. What was the car you drove, or how did the car you drove today feel like? Because you obviously had a mishmash of lots of different parts.
Yeah.
So where do you think you could have done with the car you drove on Friday, perhaps?
Honestly, I do feel like every now and then our qualifying pace looked like we could have been in the top three. And obviously with the crash, that wasn't possible. And then completely new car, everything stripped, new chassis, obviously the same engine, but new change of gearbox, I think. All the corners, everything. And then naturally, first you don't want to damage the car again. The car definitely didn't feel exactly the same but as what I had on Friday, but it was very, very close. And it just seemed to get a bit better as I got more dialed in with it.
Great job today, well done.
Thank you.
Yeah, Lewis Hamilton finished then down in third position, Josh, and he had an interesting getaway as well. The sprint yesterday was dangerous, but today he went from 8th to 3rd. A mighty good day for Lewis Hamilton, finishing in third position. But we were talking about Carlos Sainz as well and his fire that happened, and you were talking us through that before we had to go off.
It went bang.
Massively so
When I
bang.
mean it went bang, it went bang, and I would not want to be sitting in a car on fire, rolling down a hill where you can't get out.
Terrifying. Absolutely terrifying, in my opinion, as well as it came through. But I'll tell you one thing as well. He managed to get out. The marshals put a chock block underneath it and stopped it, and he put left hand down and put the rear tyre into the wall, so he did get away with it. But Ferrari have thrown away what was a 1-2 finish. At the time it was 1-3, but Sainz was catching Leclerc. Sainz was catching Verstappen and Leclerc over the battles. But here's the podium then. Charles Leclerc taking victory, just about saving his way. Max Verstappen, what on earth happened to him today? Finishing in second position. He was practically nowhere throughout the entire race.
Yeah, and Ben Hunt tweeted tons of Max fans taking a Rolex advertising and tons of advertising.
Well, Silverstone did it, so they should too. Lewis Hamilton, we've already talked about finishing in third. George Russell, Mr. Consistency, back into fourth position. We said if he was fourth in Austria, we wouldn't count the retirement at Silverstone because he could have got back in as well. So that was even better. Let's have one with Mattia Binotto with Ted.
Mattia, Ferrari wins are like buses. You wait ages and then two come along in the space at once.
Yeah, certainly very happy because now it's 2 wins in a row, and Silverstone and here in Austria. Home races, somehow both of them, and it was important for us to recover. It was important for us to come back after, let me say, few races where we were not winning. We got the potential, but we didn't win, and obviously happy for the win. A bit, I would say, disappointed for the failure we had on Carlos, because it would have been even a better Sunday today.
What made the difference, particularly on the tyre degradation, that you seem to not suffer, whereas Red Bull did, as compared to the sprint race yesterday?
Honestly, difficult for me to judge what the others are doing. We looked at all our data yesterday during the sprint. We tried to have the right balance for today on the car to manage the tires, and somehow we decided how to manage the tires. The drivers did a fantastic job, both of them. They were doing very well. They put pressure on Max at the start of the race, which I think that was the difference compared to yesterday in the sprint race. So we decided that the best was to try to keep pressure on him, force him somehow to go fast, and somehow try to wear their own tires, and I think it worked well. So thanks, I think, to the way we approach it, and fantastic, I would say, drive from Charles and Carlos today. We put pressure on Red Bull, and that was what we were hoping for.
Not bad then as they come through as the rest of the field. So that's what happened. That's Mattia Binotto then. 2 wins in a row. Let's go down who else finished in this race then, because it was very complicated. George Russell, Mr. Consistency. Yeah, Josh, we said we'll count. If he finished 4th here, we would count him still as Mr. Consistent. In every race he's finished this year, he has been P5. And he finished this one today, so he's still Mr. Consistent. Am I right?
Yeah, we were. Well, I was looking at it. I don't know if you were looking at it, but I think George Russell could have continued the Silverstone.
Oh, he could have.
British Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But he DNF'd himself to go check on Zoe, which is absolutely great.
Yeah, he could have continued. He only had a puncture, nowhere the damaged as well. Just couldn't get the car refired because the battery was flat from no recharge because he left it on. So he could have got back in the race quite easily. Further down then as well, let's talk about Esteban Ocon and his 100th Grand Prix start was P5 with a mighty good race for him. Mick Schumacher, second race running, he's got points. Is he in the swing of things now? I mean, that's 8 points he's got today. That puts him now total of 12 World Championship points. And he is only a couple behind Sebastian Vettel. Not bad from Mick today.
Yeah, not bad at all. And driver of the day was Mick Schumacher today.
Not bad at all for Mickey. Lando Norris was P7. Just had a 5-second time penalty as well. Cost him a couple of positions, he feels like today. 8th for Kevin Magnussen. He was nowhere after the sprint yesterday, so many people saying karma. 9th position for Daniel Ricciardo, 10th for Fernando Alonso. From the pit lane and the back of the grid effectively to scoring a World Championship point. I think that's mighty good for Alonso. Good race from here today.
Yeah, about Alonso, SHT has said in chat, any updates on Alonso's investigation? He has been summoned at 7:15 local, so in 5 minutes the driver and team representative go into the stewards.
Yeah, anything we miss here today, join us for the Grid Network wrap-up show, which is on Monday as well, with the encore and the main show, I think, being rolled into one due to NASCAR being on a bit later as well. You can also listen on USON. Myself and Matthew Owens will be commentating on the NASCAR. I'll be coing, so I'm not doing another 7 hours. But it starts earlier than last time, so fingers crossed. No rain, and I'm not going to be waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning with a damaged voice again. But still, that's coming up at 8 o'clock. Further down then, Valtteri Bottas finished P11. He was in a good fight with Alexander Albon. Lance Stroll was in 13th position as well. Zhou 14th, 15th for Gasly, 16th Tsunoda, 17th Vettel, 18th for Sainz, DNFing, of course, with that fire. Latifi retired due to problems, and Perez, I think, got hit off by George Russell on lap 1, Josh, retired the car on lap 24 because he was just having too many problems with it. The car was dead at that point.
What a weekend for Perez. Such unlucky. Got spun off yesterday in the sprint. I believe was last or DNF'd yesterday. No, he called it back.
Yeah, he called it back yesterday. He started the race 5th, didn't he? Yeah, 5th. Yeah. Perez finished after getting a DNF, but he's had a horrible weekend to forget.
No, Vettel who spun yesterday.
Vettel spun and today, yeah. Yeah,
right.
He spun today as well. Right, let's go through the championship order then quickly. I'll run you through them. Max Verstappen now on 208 points. Charles Leclerc on 170. Sergio Perez on 151. Carlos Sainz 133. George Russell 128. Lewis Hamilton 109. So finally breaks past the 100 barrier. Lando Norris on 64. Esteban Ocon on 52. Valtteri Bottas on 46. And Fernando Alonso in 10th on 29 points. Kevin Magnussen on 22, Danny Ricciardo 17, 16 Gasly, 15 Vettel, 12 Schumacher, 11 Tsunoda, 5 for Zhou, 3 for Albon, 3 for Stroll, and still no points for Nicholas Latifi. And he's overtaken Nico Hulkenberg now in 20th on the standings, which is good news. Constructor standings, Red Bull running away with that, I'm afraid, 359 to Ferrari's 303, Mercedes 237, McLaren 81, the same as Alpine. So the battle for fourth is totting up next time out the French Grand Prix between McLaren and Alpine at Alpine's home race. Further down, 51 points for Alfa Romeo, 34 for Haas, 27 AlphaTauri, 18 for Aston Martin, and 3 for Williams as well. Now we move on to the slightly more difficult topics. Formula 2. And we'll start off simply with their sprint race results because it's all changed. Marcus Armstrong took victory in the sprint race from Theo Pourchaire. Jack Doohan rounded out the top 3. Drugovic was 4th, Vips 5th, Verschoor 6th, Sargent 7th, Fittipaldi 8th, Hauger 9th, Awasha 10th, Druvela 11th, Vestes 12th, 13th Nazani, 14th Williams, 15th Novalak, 16th Hughes, 17th Caldwell, 18th Cordial, 19th Roberto Meri, Bologbassi, Lawson and Sato out of the race as well. But Josh, today's F2 feature race, a whole host of penalties. Richard Verschoor taking the win, but then getting stopped on the track, and he's not now been able to provide a fuel sample, which means he's out of it. He's been disqualified. That promoted up onto the board. I don't know why you've walked in here. We're live. But anyway, yeah, so that promoted up into second position Cem Bolok-Bassi, if I'm correct. Or was it Philippe Johan Jaruvela? Jaruvela, I'm being told. And Jaruvela's now been excluded from the race, which has promoted onto the podium and race victory Logan Sargent, taking his second feature race back-to-back win as well in Formula 1. What are you up to?
I just wondered what time you wanted to eat.
Come here, because otherwise they can't see you. What do you want? We're on the forum anyway, so what do you want? Dinner?
Yeah. What time?
Well, we're finished here in around about 10, 15 minutes or so.
Oh, no, it won't be ready then.
No, as long as it's ready. Is it ready by 8?
Oh, yeah, well before then.
Are you taking a look at the GTO mega chair?
Yeah.
Do you want to sit in it? Go on, sit in it. Spin it around. Go on. Spin it around. There you go. It's comfortable, isn't it?
Yeah, very nice.
Not you often you're in here.
No.
Are you just here because of the fan as well?
Yeah, it is.
Yes. All right, well, you can sit there. Anyway, as I'll go through the rest of the results, give me a wave. So...
Cook my tea.
All right, bye-bye. If you want to stay here, we're going to do a race recap at the moment, so you might be able to see Science is Fire anyway. Oh, no, Science is Fire will be on there in a second. The people who walk into the commentary box, honestly. Anyway, so Drugovic again, he lost it again. Druvela got the win, but now it's been given to Logan Sargent. And by my math, Josh, considering Roberto Meri, the 31-year-old, who finished second on the road, got a 5-second time penalty, correct me if I'm wrong, isn't he now back into at least third position, maybe second?
He's third, yes.
He's third. So, Roberto Meri... Go on, Josh.
The F2 officials are still looking at some stuff as the final classification's still not published.
Yeah, it's still provisional, and so many track limits are being called out as well. So we can't even give you the results for F2 yet because they're not there. All we can tell you is that at the moment, Logan Sargent is the winner, but he's the third winner we've had of that feature race. It was called as Verschoor, then it was called as Druvela, now it's called as Sargent. So it's all changed over once again. In conjunction,
all of these track limits insane.
That is got to be gone through as well by the stewards. To come in as well. She's walked out the box just as the fire comes on the TV. Anyway, thanks, Mum. Anyway, back on then. Let's go through Formula... So, the Encore show, again, for the Grid Network is the place to be for the final results. We'll talk you through them there as well. As this... Mum's really put this Omega chair in position. There we go. Okay, right. Let's go through Formula 3, which is a little bit easier. It was a very interesting race this morning. Did you catch it, Josh, in the rain? It was constant drama. You know? I can't hear you.
Yeah, I was still asleep.
Oh, you missed it. Okay. It was constant rain. Where's Synthol when we need him? Anyway, let's go through then the results of this morning's F3 race because that has been made official for the race. That is the wrong one. We're not talking about Russia last year. Let's go through the race 2 final classifications then. In the wet this morning for the feature race, Isaac Hadjar took victory. Victor Martins, the championship leader, was second. Then Oliver Behrman, Arthur Leclerc, Zane Maloney, Colapinto, Smolia, Alatello, Cohen, and Juan Manuel Correa rounded out the top 10. Okay, then, let's talk about then as well. I think Natalie Pinker's going to talk us about the Drivers' Championship.
This is what it does to the Drivers' Championship. Max Verstappen still out in front by 38 points from Charles Leclerc. Sergio Perez drops down to third after his contact with Russell means that his race came to a premature end. Carlos Sainz on 133 in fourth. Fernando Alonso rounds out the points today and rounds out the top 10 in the Drivers' Championship. Daniel Ricciardo managed to finish in the points today. He's P12. And Mick Schumacher had a strong race as well, didn't he, in sixth. And he manages to be up to 15th on 12 points in the championship.
Okay, now the constructors, Natalie.
And the constructors looks like this. Red Bull still out in front with a 56-point advantage over Ferrari. McLaren and Alpine locked on points with 81 apiece. That's after all four drivers finished in the points today.
Okay, one more interview, I believe, is coming. And it's with Max Verstappen, with Rachel Brooks.
Max, considering what you were dealing with in the car today, taking second place, is that a good result around here? I know you would have wanted to win, but you were saying the car's so unpredictable. And
Better than expected. I mean, if you look at the whole race, we were lacking pace, just a lot of deck, and I don't really understand why it was that bad. Yeah, of course, it looked like Carlos was also going to overtake me, but then unfortunately, of course, he encountered engine trouble, and at the end, I think only lose 5 points over a weekend is not too bad, you know, on a bad day. So yeah, it's been a bit more tricky than I expected it to be today, but you know, sometimes these things can happen.
what was unpredictable about it?
Just no grip, and I could not manage my tires like I want to because they were just degrading a lot.
Do you think then that Ferrari have the edge at the moment on pace, or do you think that was just around this circuit and that you think you're pretty close going forward?
Really difficult to tell, but it seemed like we really had a bit of an off day, and they had a very strong day.
Is there any bonus to you then that one of the other challengers in the championship also didn't finish? I know Checo didn't finish, but at least it's team-wise, it's even.
Well, I think it's just bad for both, right? I feel sorry for Carlos, I feel sorry for Checo that they don't score points because it's always, it's not nice, you know, when you have these kind of issues. But yeah, for myself, of course, I always try to maximize everything I can.
Is this going to the wire this season?
A bit difficult to say after today, you know. If you look at today, it looks not that great for us, but things can turn really quickly, so it's a bit difficult to tell.
Okay, we're going to stay here, and I believe we're going to hear from Carlos Sainz, who finished earlier on in the race.
Heartbreak all round watching that. When did you know there was a problem?
Well, as soon as it happened, really, there was no feedback coming from the engine that this was about to happen. Very sudden, and yeah, a bit lost for words because it's obviously a big loss on points, on a huge result for the team. I think it would have been an easy 1-2 today. So
Looked like a lot of damage to the car. What have you seen?
well, fire, a lot of fire, a lot of damage for sure, which is not ideal and something that we will need to looking at. At least today the pace was there, the degradation was very low on our car. We were fast, so yeah, I will take it and turn the page as soon as possible.
Does that make it tougher to take?
That's going to be a lot of fun then, isn't it? As well as we'll come back up to the main box. And Josh as well, just coming to you quickly. We are really going to be in for an exciting one next time out, aren't we? Because, is this... Oh, that's Josh. Okay. Next time out, French Grand Prix at Port Ricard. It's a track that we sometimes get great racing at, sometimes it's a snooze fest. But so far, these 2022 cars have been delivering us with some great action. We could be on for a great French Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time.
We really, really could. And what's the date in 2 weeks' time, Joss?
Is it your birthday?
Yes, might be.
I thought it was. It's been down in the diary. Josh, FP3 for the French Grand Prix as commentator. It's been down since pre-season testing. So don't worry, I'll have you in the box for FP3 as a solo com alongside myself. So there you go.
I cannot wait.
It's going to be a good one.
It's new 2022 cars.
Same
Yeah,
track.
they've provided great racing at some circuits that we've had great racing at the past, and they've also provided some great racing which we might have not had great racing before.
It's going to be a lot of fun. Okay, thanks, Josh, for your company this weekend. My thanks to Synthor, my thanks to Megan, and my thanks to Ian Birch as well for being with us all weekend long. That's us wrapped up here from the Austrian Grand Prix. 2 weeks' time then, Formula 1 returns along with Formula 2 and W Series. You can join us all for that here on the YouTube channel. Next week, we are back for a little bit less of action. Formula E have their 2 races in New York City, and one that we're very looking forward to as well. It's the Grand Prix of Toronto for IndyCar as well. That is going to be exclusively live on Peacock, so make sure you join us right here on the YouTube channel for the watch along. My thanks to you all for your company this weekend. It's goodbye to these beautiful Styrian hills, and we'll see you Austria in a year's time. Technically, I'm 2 months when we head to Austria for MotoGP, but don't tell Megan, she doesn't like it. We'll see you in next week for Formula E and IndyCar, and we'll see you in 2 weeks for Formula 1. Bye to you all.